It all started on a sleepy Friday night when Maya sat cross-legged on her couch, phone in hand, trying to forget how exhausting her week had been. Her job at the local art gallery paid little and demanded much. She had spent her entire day rearranging exhibits that no one really came to see. The loneliness of her small apartment echoed in the hum of the refrigerator. So when her best friend texted her saying, "Can't wait to see you tomorrow, babe," Maya typed back instantly, teasing, "You better bring coffee or I'm canceling our friendship." But the message didn't go where she thought it would. A few seconds later, her phone buzzed. A reply popped up. "That's a strong threat over a cup of coffee." Maya frowned. That wasn't her friend's number. "Who is this?" she texted, confused but curious. "Someone who's now very invested in your coffee standards." She laughed out loud. There was something charming about that confidence. Maybe it's a spammer, she thought, but her fingers were already typing again. "Well, then I hope you have good taste." "I'd say it's expensive taste, but I don't brag." Something about that line made her smirk. Whoever this was, they were playful, self-assured. The conversation flowed effortlessly, and before she knew it, they were texting for over an hour, about favorite books, travel dreams, and the strange comfort of rainy nights. When Maya finally asked for a name, the reply came after a pause. "Ava. Just Ava." Simple, elegant, but there was something hidden behind it. Something polished. Over the next few days, they talked every night. Ava had a way of making ordinary words feel magnetic. Her texts carried a quiet power, flirtatious, thoughtful, and a little mysterious. She never revealed much about her life, but she always listened to Maya's stories as if they were treasures. One night, as they were joking about terrible first dates, Ava wrote, "Maybe you should let me show you how it's done." Maya's heart skipped. "You're not even sure I exist beyond this phone." "I'm sure I'd like to find out." That was the first time Maya felt the flutter of something more than curiosity. The kind of feeling that starts low in the stomach and spreads quietly, warmth that turns into wanting. By the time she fell asleep that night, her phone still glowed beside her pillow, Ava's last message sitting on the screen. "You seem like the kind of woman who changes the room without realizing it." Maya stared at the words, smiling softly. She didn't know yet that the woman she'd been talking to, the mysterious Ava, wasn't just confident. She was one of the most powerful women in the country. And Maya's wrong number had just connected her to a billionaire. The following week felt unusually slow for Maya. Each morning began with a text from Ava, short, teasing, and just enough to make her smile over her cup of coffee. It had become a ritual. Maya didn't know how this stranger had slipped so seamlessly into her routine, but she liked it. It felt easy. Safe. Yet, deep down, she couldn't ignore the quiet pulse of curiosity that grew stronger every day. Who was Ava, really? By Friday evening, Ava finally asked, "What would it take for you to meet me in person?" Maya hesitated, staring at the message as if it might bite her. She'd never done this before, meeting someone she'd only texted. But something about Ava's voice in her mind, the way she crafted words, felt trustworthy. "Dinner." In a public place, she replied cautiously. "Deal. Tomorrow at 7. I'll send a car for you." Maya blinked. A car? She almost laughed, it sounded so extravagant, but before she could reply, Ava added, "Please say yes. I promise I'm not a serial killer. Just someone who doesn't believe in making a woman take the bus to meet her." Against her better judgment, Maya said yes. Saturday arrived, and so did the car, sleek, black, and definitely not something from her side of town. The driver greeted her politely and handed her a sealed envelope. Inside was a note in delicate handwriting. "Can't wait to finally see the woman behind the voice that's been stuck in my head all week. A." Her stomach flipped. When the car stopped in front of a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city skyline, Maya's nerves buzzed. The hostess led her to a private table surrounded by soft lights and a view that looked too perfect to be real. And then she saw her. Ava stood near the railing, her back to the city, tall, poised, and stunning in a simple black dress. Her hair caught the glow of the setting sun, and when she turned, Maya felt the air leave her lungs. Ava smiled, slow and sure, as if she'd been expecting this reaction. "You must be Maya," Ava said, her voice lower and warmer than it had sounded in text. "And you're not what I expected," Maya managed to say. "Good," Ava replied, a glimmer of amusement in her eyes. "I'd hate to be predictable." Dinner was effortless. Ava listened more than she spoke, but when she did, every word seemed carefully chosen, intelligent, magnetic. She talked about art and travel, but never about her work. Maya noticed how the waitstaff treated her with quiet deference, like they already knew who she was. As the night deepened, so did the tension between them. Their laughter softened into lingering glances. Ava's hand brushed against Maya's as she reached for her wine, and that small touch sent a current through her. When the evening ended, Ava walked her to the car. "I'd like to see you again," Ava said softly, looking directly into her eyes. Maya nodded, her heartbeat wild. "I'd like that too." Just before the car door closed, Ava leaned closer, her breath warm against Maya's ear. For the next 2 weeks, Maya's world spun around Ava. Every message, every phone call, every unexpected delivery of flowers to her art gallery pulled her deeper into something she didn't quite understand. Ava had become a constant, the voice that soothed her chaos and the presence that ignited something wild inside her. Yet, for all the closeness, there were walls. Ava avoided talking about her work, her family, or even where she lived. When Maya pressed, Ava would just smile through the phone and say, "You'll know everything when the time is right." Maya tried to ignore the unease that came with those words. After all, what mattered was how Ava made her feel, seen, wanted, and strangely alive. One Friday night, Ava invited her out again, but this time, she didn't give a location. "Just trust me," Ava said, her tone playfully commanding. A sleek car arrived at Maya's building. It drove her through winding streets and finally stopped in front of a massive iron gate that opened to a sprawling estate she had never seen before. The mansion was modern, with walls of glass reflecting the golden city lights. As the car stopped, Ava appeared at the entrance, wearing a satin blazer over dark jeans, elegance wrapped in ease. "You brought me to your home?" Maya asked, stepping out of the car, half in awe. Ava smiled. "I figured it's time you saw a little more of my world." Inside, everything screamed luxury, art pieces that Maya recognized from magazines, the faint scent of white roses, and a grand piano that looked like it hadn't been touched in years. But what caught Maya's attention most was how Ava seemed different here, sharper, more in control. They sat in the living room with wine, the space filled with quiet music and unspoken tension. "This is incredible," Maya said, scanning the room. "It's just walls," Ava replied, almost dismissively. "Money doesn't make it less empty." Maya tilted her head. "You say that like someone who has a lot of it." Ava hesitated, eyes meeting hers. "Maya. I didn't lie to you. I just didn't tell you everything." The room went still. Ava placed her glass down and took a slow breath. "My name is Ava Kingsley. I own Kingsley Group, the investment firm you probably see in headlines sometimes." Maya froze. Kingsley Group. She'd seen that name everywhere, articles, billboards, even on the donation plaques at her gallery. She blinked. "You mean, you're that Ava Kingsley?" Ava nodded, quietly. "I didn't want that to be the first thing you knew about me." Maya stared, trying to process the absurdity. She had been flirting, arguing, with one of the wealthiest women in the country without knowing it. And yet, looking at Ava now, her heart didn't pull away. If anything, it beat harder. "So the billionaire who doesn't believe in buses is real," Maya whispered, smiling nervously. Ava chuckled, the tension easing slightly. "Very real. But I hope that's not all you see." Maya moved closer, her hand brushing Ava's. "I see the woman who texts me good morning. Who listens. Who laughs like she forgets everything else. For a long moment, they just looked at each other, two worlds colliding, neither willing to back away. Then, quietly, Ava said, "You have no idea what you've done to me, Maya." Her voice was soft but heavy with meaning. And before Maya could respond, Ava leaned in, close enough that their breaths mingled, the space between them dissolving, the air thick with possibility. The night was no longer about who Ava was, it was about what they were both becoming. Silence filled the room, soft but electric. Ava's breath brushed against Maya's cheek, and for a moment, neither of them dared to move. The air between them felt alive, charged with everything they'd said and everything they hadn't. Maya could feel her pulse in her fingertips, a wild rhythm that matched the flicker of candles on the marble table nearby. When Ava finally spoke, her voice was almost a whisper. "I built my life on control, on keeping things predictable. But with you." Her words trailed off, and she smiled faintly, the kind of smile that carried both fear and surrender. Maya felt it too, the gravity between them, impossible to resist. She reached out, her hand finding Ava's. "Maybe you don't need to control this," Maya said softly. "Maybe you just need to feel it." Ava's gaze lingered on her, searching, perhaps a little uncertain. Then she exhaled, as though letting go of something heavy. Her fingers intertwined with Maya's, firm yet tender. The touch was simple, but it burned with something that went deeper than desire. It was trust. They moved closer, slowly, as if both were afraid to break the moment. Ava's other hand brushed a stray strand of hair from Maya's face, her thumb tracing her jawline in a way that made Maya close her eyes. "You're beautiful," Ava murmured. "You're just saying that because I don't know which fork to use at your fancy dinners," Maya teased gently, her voice trembling slightly. Ava laughed, a low, genuine sound that melted the tension. "That's exactly why I like you." The laughter faded, leaving only quiet. When their foreheads finally touched, Maya felt warmth spread through her like sunlight. It wasn't rushed or careless, it was slow, deliberate, meaningful. Their connection wasn't about luxury or status. It was about the rare peace of being seen. Ava pulled back slightly, her eyes soft. "Stay for a while," she said. Maya hesitated, not out of doubt, but because her heart already knew it was too late to turn away. "Only if you promise to tell me more about you this time," she whispered. Ava nodded. "Deal." They spent hours talking, about childhood dreams, fears, the loneliness of success, and the beauty of small things. Ava told her about how her father's empire became hers, and how every victory had somehow made her feel emptier. Maya moved closer, her hand brushing Ava's. "I see the woman who texts me good morning. Who listens. Who laughs like she forgets everything else." Morning light spilled across the marble floor, soft and golden. Maya woke to the faint hum of the city beyond the glass walls, still curled on the couch where she and Ava had fallen asleep talking. The world outside was busy, but here, it felt like time had stopped. Ava was already awake, sitting at the piano in the corner. Her fingers danced lightly over the keys, producing a melody that sounded both elegant and lonely. Maya sat up, watching her, the billionaire who looked more human now than ever before, lost in the simplicity of music. "You play beautifully," Maya said quietly. Ava turned, smiling faintly. "Only when someone's listening." Maya walked closer, her bare feet silent against the floor. She stopped beside Ava, leaning on the piano, teasing gently. "So, does every woman you talk to by accident get serenaded?" "Only the ones who steal my sleep," Ava replied, glancing up at her with a half-smile. They shared a moment of laughter, but beneath it, something tender lingered. The closeness between them had grown, a kind of unspoken promise neither dared to name yet. For the next few weeks, they fell into a rhythm that felt dangerously easy. Maya visited Ava's estate often, helping her choose art for her private collection, exploring galleries together, or simply walking through gardens that stretched farther than Maya could see. Ava, in turn, came to Maya's small apartment, an intimate, cluttered place that made her laugh and say it smelled like real life. But perfection never lasts long. One afternoon, Maya's phone buzzed with a message from her friend Leah. "Why didn't you tell me you were seeing Ava Kingsley?" She's literally on the cover of Lux magazine this week, and there's a picture of her at some art gala with a mystery woman who looks suspiciously like you. Maya's heart stopped. She opened the link and saw the photo, grainy, but clear enough. Her hand clutched the phone as she read the headline. Billionaire heiress Ava Kingsley spotted with new flame, gallery girl or gold digger? The words stung more than she expected. When she met Ava later that evening, the air was different, tense, fragile. Ava greeted her with that same confident smile, but Maya could see the exhaustion behind her eyes. So you saw it, Ava said simply, pouring herself a glass of wine. Of course I did, Maya replied, her tone sharper than she meant. Why didn't you warn me? Ava sighed, setting the glass down. Because I didn't expect the press to care. They always find something. It's what they do. Maya crossed her arms. Easy for you to say, you're used to it. I'm not. For a moment, Ava said nothing. Then she stepped closer, her voice low. Maya, I never wanted to drag you into my world. But I also can't pretend I don't want you in it. The vulnerability in her tone softened Maya's anger. Then what do we do? Ava reached for her hand. We don't hide. Not unless you want to. Maya looked at her, really looked at her. Beneath the polished exterior, Ava wasn't invincible. She was just a woman trying to hold on to something real in a world that demanded perfection. Maya squeezed her hand. I'm not going anywhere, she whispered. And for the first time in a long time, Ava Kingsley, the woman who had everything, looked like she believed in something again. The following week was a blur of headlines and whispers. Every time Maya walked past a cafe, someone seemed to have the latest gossip tab open on their phone. At first it made her laugh, the idea that anyone cared about her, but soon the laughter turned brittle. It was one thing to share quiet dinners with Ava, it was another to see her own name tangled in rumors. Ava tried to protect her. She called every morning, sent flowers, and kept the bodyguards discreetly distant, but even her influence couldn't erase the curiosity of a hungry press. When Maya opened the gallery one afternoon, she found 2 reporters waiting outside with cameras. She slipped inside quickly, locking the door behind her. Her hands trembled as she texted Ava. They're outside again. I just want a normal day. Ava's reply came almost instantly. I'll handle it. You don't have to face this alone. That evening, Ava arrived at the gallery after closing time. Gone was the flawless businesswoman the world admired. She wore jeans, a white shirt, and worry etched between her brows. Maya was dusting the glass display when she felt Ava's presence behind her. You shouldn't have come, Maya said softly. If they see you here. Let them, Ava interrupted. Her voice was calm but firm. I'm tired of pretending that privacy means hiding you. Maya turned to face her. Is that really what this is? Privacy or shame? The question hung in the air. Ava's expression broke, the armor slipping. I've spent years building a life that looks perfect on paper. Every relationship I've had was convenient, polished, forgettable. And then you texted the wrong number, and suddenly everything real came crashing in. Maya stepped closer. Maybe it's time you stop caring about paper perfection. Ava smiled faintly. You make rebellion sound romantic. Maybe it is. She took Ava's hand, their fingers intertwining, an act both simple and defiant. For a long moment, they just stood there, the city lights spilling through the windows and painting soft gold across their faces. When Ava spoke again, her tone was gentler. Come away with me for a few days. No press, no noise. Just somewhere quiet. Maya hesitated. I can't just disappear. My boss would. I'll buy the gallery for a week, Ava said before she could finish, half teasing, half serious. Maya laughed for the first time that day, a genuine sound. You really don't do ordinary, do you? Not since you texted me. Morning sunlight streamed through the cottage window, scattering across the white sheets. Maya woke to the gentle sound of waves and the faint scent of coffee. For a brief, blissful second, she forgot who Ava was, not a billionaire, not a name on magazine covers, just a woman humming quietly while pouring 2 cups of coffee. Ava turned when she noticed Maya watching her. "Good morning," she said, her voice soft, warm. Maya smiled sleepily. "You make it look like we've done this 100 times. Ava walked over, setting the cup beside her. "Maybe that's what I want, to make this feel ordinary." They sat together on the porch, wrapped in blankets, watching the ocean breathe. No photographers. No pressure. Just the simple rhythm of 2 people who had stopped pretending. But as the day wore on, Maya's phone began to buzz again, messages from her boss, her friends, even strangers online who'd somehow found her social media. The world, it seemed, had found them once more. Ava noticed her silence. "What is it?" Maya handed her the phone, showing the messages, headlines speculating, people gossiping, some kind, most not. "I don't know how to live in your world," Maya said quietly. "I don't know if I can." Ava's face softened. "Then don't. Live in yours. Let me find a way to meet you there." It was a beautiful promise, but even as Ava said it, Maya could see the hesitation behind her eyes. The truth was, their worlds didn't fit easily together. When they returned to the city, everything felt louder. Paparazzi followed them from the airport, flashes lighting up the night. Ava's team rushed her into meetings, managing the situation, as they called it, while Maya slipped into her apartment alone, realizing how quickly something pure could turn complicated. That night, Ava called. Her voice sounded tired. "I wanted you to know. I told them the truth. That you're important to me. That I don't care what they think." Maya's heart ached at the weight in Ava's words. "And what did they say?" Ava let out a quiet laugh. "That it's not good for business. That the world isn't ready for me to be human." Maya closed her eyes, feeling both proud and heartbroken. "You don't owe them perfection, Ava." "I know," Ava whispered. "But I owe you honesty. I can't promise this will be easy. But I don't want to lose what we've found." Maya didn't respond right away. Outside her window, the city lights blinked like stars, beautiful and distant. "Then let's not think about forever," she said finally. "Let's just think about tomorrow." There was a long pause, then Ava's voice softened. "Tomorrow," she repeated, as if it were a vow. The next day, Ava showed up at the gallery. No bodyguards, no press. Just her. She waited quietly as Maya finished arranging a new exhibit. When their eyes met, the chaos of the world seemed to fade for a heartbeat. "You're here," Maya said, half in disbelief. "I said I would be," Ava replied. The gallery felt unusually quiet after closing hours. Soft instrumental music played through the speakers, blending with the faint hum of the city outside. Ava stood beside Maya, gazing at the final painting they'd hung, a piece Maya had created herself. It was abstract, full of color and emotion, a storm of brushstrokes that somehow still found harmony. "It's beautiful," Ava said quietly. "Like you painted what it feels like to breathe and ache at the same time." Maya smiled, her fingers tracing the edge of the canvas. "It's called Unwritten. Because that's what we are, a story still figuring out how to end." Ava turned to her, her expression soft but certain. "Maybe it doesn't have to end. Maybe it just changes chapters." For a moment, neither spoke. The weight of everything, the press, the public, the fear of what came next, hung between them. But there was something stronger beneath it all, a quiet decision. "I've been thinking," Ava began, "about what really matters. I built my life chasing deals, influence, and control. But none of it means anything if I have to hide who I am. Who we are." Maya looked up at her, her voice gentle. "Are you ready for what comes with that?" Ava nodded. "Maybe for the first time in my life, I am." She reached into her bag and handed Maya an envelope. Inside was a deed transfer, a portion of the Kingsley Foundation's new art initiative, naming Maya as creative director. Maya blinked, stunned. "Ava, I can't." You can, Ava said firmly. You've shown me what art can do, how it makes people feel. That's something my money could never buy. I don't want to own you, Maya. I want to build something with you. Tears stung Maya's eyes, not from the gesture itself, but from what it meant, that Ava wasn't trying to save her. She was trying to stand beside her. She set the envelope down and stepped closer, resting her forehead against Ava's. You know, when I texted that wrong number, I thought I was just being funny. Ava smiled. And I thought I was replying to a stranger who needed a coffee recommendation. They both laughed softly, the sound full of relief and affection. We really are ridiculous, Maya murmured. Beautifully ridiculous, Ava corrected, brushing her thumb along Maya's jaw. Outside, the first drops of rain began to fall against the glass windows, soft, rhythmic, steady. The kind of rain that makes the world pause. Ava reached for Maya's hand, and together they stood in silence, watching the city shimmer under the storm. No headlines. No photographers. No need for grand declarations. Just two women who had found each other in the most unexpected way, and decided that was enough. Maya leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. So what happens next? Ava's lips curved into a soft, knowing smile. Whatever we write next, it won't be by accident.